or you don't even notice that anybody's looking because you're so in you and your energy. It's that consumes you, and nothing else exists outside of that energy. And that's what I'm talking about. Like when we talk about Aries, when we talk about the first house, it's like getting into that mode or that zone where you are you, and there is no self-consciousness of thinking of like how other people are responding to this. There is no emotional insecurity and self-doubt and trying to hide yourself. There is no fear of how you are representing yourself or what your reputation will be after you express yourself. There's no thoughts about your job or the impact of you being you. It's just you being you. It's very simple. Aries has a very simple energy to it. And in the stream that we did, and as I said, all of the gems are currently being refined from the VOD, and it will be up on YouTube. So please go check out my YouTube channel, the Pisces Pixie. There's some new videos up on there, but that will be up there soon. We spoke about all the different energy that takes you out of you. So we spoke about the natural squares to the first house. We spoke about other people, which is the opposition to the first house. And now we're actually in Aries season. So before Aries season, we have Pisces. So what you guys may have noticed over the previous 30 days is a lot of karmic cycles coming to an end. There was a lot of fated and destined events unfolding, soulmate meetings for some people, karmic contracts being resolved, new ones being made, and destined endings. Things that have been in the works for a really long time. And when I say a really long time, I mean, think of it. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. And we have the whole 12 signs to travel through. That is like a karmic cycle. So some of the stuff that has been ending and was ending as of 30 days ago, we started Aries season yesterday on Tuesday. Was it Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday. Tuesday just gone, we started Aries season. So the 30 days before that has been this like almost finding yourself in the soup, karmic meetings and endings, and really like things that have been in the works for a really long time finally being realized. And now we're getting into Aries season. This is about, firstly, one of the big messages that were coming through was you cannot take unresolved karmic issues or unresolved energies into this next new phase. There is a very clear vibe of like the past is the past now. The past is the past. We're stepping away from the confusion of Pisces energy and all of the entanglements, psychic entanglements, emotional entanglements. And now we're like, okay, like we're starting our new phase of our life. We're starting a new adventure in our life. And this is about being brave. This is about being brave. And this is about taking the steps to start pursuing your path. And this is about feeling like yourself and doing things that are right for you and not getting yourself too concerned with other people or your job or all the emotional entanglements of things. It's just what is you, especially when no one's looking as well. What is you? And starting to get more confident in yourself. Aries energy, it's bold in itself and it feels fiery and it gives itself enough freedom to follow its instincts. And one of my favorite things to get into, and like a classic way of like getting back into your own energy, which is very Aries, is giving yourself enough freedom and permission to follow your first instincts. So take time for yourself. pull away and imagine and put yourself in a situation hypothetically. If no one was around, if I could do whatever I wanted to do, what would I want to do? If there was no consequence for my actions, if there was no one around, if I couldn't lose my job, if I couldn't lose my security, if I couldn't hurt anyone's feelings, if no one would be hurt, like, what would I do? And this isn't coming from like an angry place, like where you're like, oh, I'll kill someone. Like, go to therapy if that's your answer. But that's what I'd be like, tapping into that like first instincts. If it's like, okay, like I just kind of want to chill, or I kind of want to go for like a run. And sometimes you really have to actively get what you think you know you're supposed to do out of the picture and solely go to your instincts. This is what I like, that instinct feeling of like, this is what I want. This is what I want. And you forget everything that you think you know, and really kind of set like a bubble around it of like influence. So it's only you and your instinct that is the influence. And you're going to be seeing that over the next 30 days of like letting yourself listen to your instincts, because those instincts are sometimes the divine trying to move you into your new life or trying to guide you to where you need to go. Sometimes your instinct can look like, oh, I kind of want to go to a thrift shop today. Oh, it's raining. Maybe I won't. No, if you have a feeling to go to the thrift shop, go to the thrift shop. If you have a feeling to go hit up a friend, go hit up the friend. If you and it's about listening to those divine impulses, because like your divine impulses come through instincts. And there is going to be like a little bit of a refinement of that. And even when it's scary, you have to trust your instincts. And there's a very like empowering energy to Aries. It's represented by the ram. And like there's going to be like headbutting your way through life right now. So people might try to what's this? Step in your way. People might try to like step in your way a little bit, or try to dissuade you, or try to, you know, pull you back from the decisions that you're trying to like try and pull you back from the decisions that you're trying to make. No, you have to roll and stick with where you're heading, knowing that like, you know, when you're in resonance with that, like, this is the right path for me. This is the right path for me. Stepping away from things that cannot be resolved. If something is stuck and won't resolve, if you try and resolve it, it's not being resolved, gotta walk away from it. You've got to walk away from it, even if it's just for a little bit. Even if it is just for a little bit of time. Like, you cannot let your energy get stuck in things that won't resolve. Don't let yourself get trapped into energy that like won't be resolved. There are people who like want to keep you stuck in unresolvable cycles that they're not willing to fix, that you'll spend all your energy trying to fix. No, you have to walk. Whatever is sticky or feels unresolvable, you need to clear out. It needs to go. You're going into your next phase of your life. You can't keep carrying sticky, unresolvable, because that's Pisces energy. The sticky, unresolvable, like the karmic, like that's why you're like weeding through the roots and picking out the weeds and like figuring out what's a weed and what's not. Like, we're not in that phase anymore. We're moving away from that. So you can't take all that stickiness and all that goop and all that gunk. As well as that, the motivation for the little things are returning. So there has been a lot of burnout over these past, like, I think probably for the last year for a lot of people, there's been like a climax of burnout. I think some people experience that burnout even before that too. But there's been a bit of a climax of burnout. And the motivation for the little things is starting to arise again with Aries season. And this could just be just for the little things, like the things that you used to enjoy, the things that you used to like to do are starting to come back. There's also a highlight on freedom. Freedom is a huge one for Aries season. Keep doing things that make you feel free, and nurture that freedom. There is a vibe as well. I'm looking at all my notes. We're talking about Aries season. Securing your direction, or at least you are at the beginning of securing some kind of direction. You might be at the very, very beginning of it. You literally might have no idea like what the end goal is of it, but you're starting to see the seeds of like securing some kind of direction with something begin. Whether that is with your career, whether that is with a new relationship, whether that is, you know, where you want to go with yourself, there is this a sense of securing like a direction happening. Now, another side of this is there might be big insights coming through about your early childhood. And I think this is for people who like that stickiness that kind of keeps you from that instincts and that confidence and that pursuing. I do think that there is going to be time over these next 30 days in Aries season. Aries also relates to like the child, not the emotional inner child, but it's like the baby. It doesn't have its own ability to meet its needs yet. And I think that there is going to be a highlight in the next 30 days of like, if you stop yourself from doing something, what tools do you lack to get it done? And one of the huge things that were coming through was that some of you guys are recognizing that like sometimes you just need to self-soothe and you don't have that as a tool. Some of you just like need more reassurance, but like you don't reassure yourself. And it's like there's like a vibe here of like learning how to like be self-sufficient and like independent, but meet the things that you are reliant on of other people, like meeting it. The weird thing about Aries season this year, which is very different, is that so the sun is now in Aries, but the beginning of of Aries season actually started on an Aries new moon. It actually started on an Aries new moon, and a new moon is about new beginnings and new things and fresh starts, and Aries is all about that too. So there was a new moon in Aries and the sun has moved into Aries. So there's this like this is significant. It's really significant for a lot of people. Like usually people don't really recognize like the shifts and the changes and the dips of the different seasons, but I think this is more apparent. And one of the things I wrote down specifically because the new moon started out, the new moon in Aries, like had its imprint too. We have to take the moon into consideration for the entire month. So this is about mommy issues. This is working through our mommy issues, internalized misogyny. How confident do you let yourself be as a girl or as a woman? What types of emotional nurturing do you give yourself generally when it comes to how confident you're allowed to feel, you following your instincts, you know, letting yourself go for it. And there's going to be insights over the next 30 days of our emotional, the parts of our inner child and how it connects to mother energy. Learning to care for ourselves is a huge one. Learning to nurture our sense of self is going to be huge over the next 30 days. Onyx, thank you so much for giving the stream some love. Thank you so much, BB. There's a huge thing of like learning to care and nurture for our sense of self and for our actual selves, and learning to protect for yourself and learning to fight for yourself. Because some people have, you know, an inner child and they're like, no one stuck up for it. You need to learn to stick up for yourself. You need to learn to stick up for yourself is a huge one. Learning to stick up for yourself is a huge one. Healing childhood wounds that relate to care and codependence as well is a huge one. So this is going to be a call out for some people, and I apologize in advance, because I fucking sincerely love you to pieces, and sometimes we need the finger up the butthole. This is, what are they called? Smelling salts. This might be a bit of a smelling salt to the soul. Some of you are so scared to be yourself because you're codependent as fuck. Like, you're so codependent on how, like, the energy around you feels about you. You're so codependent. It's actually, like, and it's the codependency, like, it makes you feel weak in yourself. And sometimes because we have a weak sense of self, we go into codependency. But this is the month to get comfortable being on your own. Get comfortable being in your vibe. Get comfortable being in your vibe. What does standing in your power look like? Write that down. Connect on that later. What does it look like? What does it look like, you standing in your power? Visualize that. Because there's this energy with Aries season of like, we're in this shit whether we like it or not. We're in this life whether we like it or not. We're in our situation whether we like it or not. We have our insecurities whether we like them or not. And what are we going to do with that? What are you going to do with that? You're in it whether you like it or not. So let's do it. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. And there is again, I'm getting towards the end of my notes. How powerful do you feel by yourself? And this is like, I was getting this image of like, you know, on Call of Duty where you could have the perk of like a one-man army, and it's basically like you can take on an entire team just by yourself. There was this perk called One-Man Army, and I was getting this vibe of like, who are you when you're all like by yourself, and how powerful can you feel all by yourself? And do you feel like a one-man army? Like, what is your one-man army? And this isn't in like, I think the thing is with Aries energy, so the sun is exalted in Aries, which means this energy supports ego. So this might all sound really egotistical, and especially for my women in the chat who have been demoralized and hated for having self-worth and self-confidence, who have been made, and some men as well, who have been made to shrink, who have been made or conditioned to shrink. Aries energy is healthy ego, and it supports you feeling confident. And there is this run with that thing of like, we're in this shit whether we like it or not, so I need to fucking love myself, and I need to start feeling good about myself. I need to start telling myself that I'm hot shit, or that I'm a good person, or that I'm good to be around, or that I'm fun to be around. Because no one else is going to do that for you. Libra ain't going to come in and do that for you. Like, other people can't come and do that for you. I mean, they can in some degrees, but if you're finding yourself insecure and waiting for other people to, like, pick you up, there is something about, like, taking the bull by the horns a little bit with Aries season. Yeah, self-validation. And there was, what was coming through as well? It's just finding that confidence. It does support confidence right now. The energy is really supporting confidence in new beginnings and being confident in yourself in new beginnings. And another element of it too is there needs to be something that stands behind it. Because you can be as egotistical as you want and be as confident as you want, but it needs to have, like, something behind it. It needs, like, an actual thing behind it. So there's a parts of this where it's like actually recognizing what's behind you, and what sense of self stands behind you, and vibing with that, and recognizing that, and self-respect, like respecting that, and fucking with that. And I think it's with all this Aries energy too, because we have the new moon in Aries and the sun in Aries, and they've like kind of had a baby in the sky, and now we're just in full Aries energy. Shit can go from 0 to 60 really quick. Like, and this is going to be so cool if you get into the habits of it. Life can change as quick as you want it. Life can change as quickly as you want it. You can go from this, and this is like giving me brain tingles right now, because some people, like, they're so used to how slow life used to move and how long. Vaka, you're back and you needed this one. People are so used to how long and how hard they used to have to work, like years, to get things done. And there's something happening now with this Aries energy, and just the energy on the planet right now is like, things are speeding up, and things can happen as fast as you want it. You can literally start a new beginning, like, or start something new, like today, and like things just like amplify really quick. And like things, you're gonna start seeing things go from 0 to 60 like really quick. And there is discovering new dimensions of yourself. Discovering new dimensions of yourself and discovering new motivations. For some of y'all don't know what your motivations are in life right now, because there has been an energy of like heavy suppression and like self-repression. You've not had enough freedom to explore yourself. And maybe, you know, because Pisces is before Aries energy, like there is a thing sometimes like where with Pisces, it can try and escape and avoid stepping into itself. It can want to retreat, and it wants to hide, and it wants to escape, and it wants to drown rather than stepping into itself. I'm kind of leaning back for the Pisces, because like Pisces is in the 12th house. It's like the hidden bit, and then you step out into Aries, and there is this like, you'll see that happening over this next month. Is just like that. Those opportunities to step out, those opportunities to show up, and, you know, do be mindful that, you know, this is an opportunity now to discover new motivations and discover new dimensions of yourself. And especially to just like scrap who you thought you were. Scrap that. Like, scrap who you thought you were, scrap the narratives and the stories, and like step into it. Step into it. Okay. I think if anyone wants to take this deeper, go check out Patreon. There is a booklet about how to connect with your first house and how to get more into your vibe by taking the sign on your first house and looking at activities associated with that, and some other cool astrology stuff too.